Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the AI Newsroom. And Svetlana will guide you through our topics today.
Yeah, exciting news happening. I think I'm very excited to talk about Apple specifically. But before we get there, DeepMind created they have some updates around the advancement around AlphaFold, which is kind of the three-dimensional kind of representation of proteins, and there's some really awesome updates on that front. Apple is emerging out of the blue. Well, not out of the blue, but because they've been kind of the sleeping giant, as what Edgar has called them before, and now they're coming up with more and more stuff, and we'll talk about what that some of the stuff is. We think in preparation for the WWC DC
DC.
that is coming in June. I always get that abbreviation wrong. Sorry. We'll talk about
Just call
GitHub
it dub. That's how they also call it themselves. So.
Dub. Okay, that sounds very professional, very Apple like. Um, and then we'll talk about GitHub Copilot workspace, and last but not least, Overflow and their partnership with OpenAI,
Stack
and
Overflow.
what people are kind of talking about. Yeah, as it relates to that. So really excited about the topics today. So with that said, let's kick things off maybe with DeepMind's
Yeah, let's go.
AlphaFold.
I'll share what I have on my screen here. So yeah, that's that's a serious topic and a really beautiful one in terms of what can AI do for us. AlphaFold is like Google's DeepMind. I think it's Google DeepMind now. They released the AlphaFold 3 AI, which is not an I'm not sure if it's Gen AI or a Transformers or something, because it might be. I'm not sure about that. But they are now able to predict the structure interactions of all of life's molecules. molecules.
Yeah.
So that's a statement to make.
Well, I think, and I think it's my background is actually I'm a biochemist by training. So, and one of my undergraduate research actually was computer interactions of molecules in different environments. Like you can build rules in a way to understand like how, depending on the environment, these molecules behave. But I think this actually goes and expands not only the 3D representation of different types of molecule, but it builds not only like again a cell level of what
Mhm.
this particular thing does. They're adding and um, they're adding on more complexity and saying like, hey, this is actually like an organism. Like it gets closer to an organism rather than like a small cell level. So I think that's really impressive because you just think about like applying vaccines and doing some theoretical work on like drug interaction design.
Yeah,
Once you know
that's
what this is,
drug
like you could
discovery.
do
Yeah.
this hypothetically with these models. Just give them the environment, give them like whatever the disease type,
Yeah.
alter that 3D structure, and then you can do a lot of this like manipulating of designs, like so you don't have to actually test maybe on as much on patients
Yeah.
and do like as many clinical trials
Yeah.
maybe per se.
Yeah, you can just like usually you have to go like so many rounds for drug discovery until it
Yeah.
gets somewhere, even to get through to the clinical trial with humans. So you have to jump through so many hoops, and I guess they cut this process short, and
Yeah.
also reduce on the same at the same time reduce side effects, because they basically can predict what it's for. So AlphaFold is usually or it was meant to predict how proteins behave, and proteins are just molecules
Yeah.
built of atoms. So and they kind of now are able to predict basically everything in terms of interaction between molecules, which is amazing. I was like it will change the world basically. So because that's
Now,
another level.
if
Yeah.
they can also do that, like I anticipate at some point, it would be amazing if they could actually model an entire organism at a protein level
Yeah.
or, at a molecular level. Again, I can geek out on this stuff because again, biochemist by training. So this is what I studied in my undergrad. geeked out on this stuff. I actually did some computer modeling on with molecules as well. So like I
So
can truly appreciate the
this
complexity of
picture
doing this.
is kind of familiar to you then,
Correct.
because
Yes. Yeah.
because
Those are the different
because for me it's
protein
just
foldings.
lines. It looks like under my computer, like.
No, that those are the different
Yeah.
folding patterns of proteins, and like there's
Okay.
some DNA and helixes, whatever. So there's multiple things happening there.
Mm-hmm.
But again, at when I was in college, like you could probably have like a few of these molecules together. Like I could decipher which ones are separate pieces or separate proteins. Like there may be like a few of a complexity, and that's like the extent of what we were able to do manually to do this. Now look at the complexity of this
Yeah.
structure. You have
Interesting.
probably
Yeah. Interesting.
hundreds of different proteins interacting together. Like
Yeah. And
humans, it's going to take years for them to even create something similar.
and as far as this is even COVID. Interesting.
Hmm.
So I can understand. So the prediction is the colorful one, and the gray one is the actual.
What we know.
Yeah. What is the truth? Like ground truth shown in gray.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really close, right?
It's amazing.
Crazy. Yeah, that's really crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, now I understand
Lots
it.
of
Okay.
potential.
So yeah, they basically compare the prediction to what actually happened, and it's really close. So yeah, that's cool. The thing is, we can also discover stuff that's just not possible or wasn't like feasible to discover yet.
Oh yeah.
That's
I
really
mean,
cool.
could this be the mapping of the genome, right? Like type of project, like
Yeah.
similar.
You don't have to sequence DNA. You just simulate it. I think
Yeah, like
it's
you put
amazing.
together, like you
Yeah.
sequence or like an entire organism. Like this is what a mouse looks like molecularly, and yeah, it's going to be very complicated to like navigate for people who understand how to read or
I'm not
interpret
sure
those
how.
structures. But
I'm not sure how the resolution is. I think if you really go to drug discovery, you want to have it on a small molecular level to see what do the proteins do in terms of DNA. Does it any damage to the DNA, stuff like that. So
the complexity comes where you have similar proteins in different parts of your body as part of different organs, and that's why there's like side effects with drugs. So
interesting.
although
Yeah.
you're
Okay.
trying to target one particular protein in like the gut, for example,
Yeah.
but because that same protein exists elsewhere in the body,
So
creates side effects.
you would do more like you can then do different simulations for different cell types and stuff. Okay.
Exactly,
Okay.
for an
Yeah.
entire
Interesting.
organism to be like, hey, this is the drug and this is
But
the
not at
interaction.
once, but like just all
Yeah.
the different parts. Okay. Yeah. Gotcha.
And you could see like you could hypothesize like, okay, given this drug or given this potential chemical that's in the body, this is what the side effects that we anticipate
Yeah.
from from these drug interactions. Now that we know in the brain you have this protein and this is how it's going to interact with this drug in the gut or in the heart, whatever. So if you have a holistic representation of that organism, where those proteins are in the body, I mean, that would be huge. Although we're not there yet,
to be
but
completely
this is a
honest,
stepping stone.
I'm even amazed that we could even do a real life image and compare it to a simulation, because like I have
Yeah.
no idea what this means and how to get there. So yeah, ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's
Cool. The server is free. That's interesting. AlphaFold server, free and easy to use research tool. Well, that's cool.
if you like me.
They're really doing something for the world here. That I have to give them credit for that.
Yeah. No, this is the type of AI that we should be doing.
Wow, that's really cool. Yeah, that's really really cool.
The types
Okay.
of advancement. Yeah, that's
Sharing
really cool.
sharing responsibly and future. Is there anything? I think this is that kind of step that just like now has to put to use, and 2 years from now we will get the results, the first results, and what
Oh,
is
of course.
possible. Yeah. But
Especially if they're
interesting,
going to be
really
doing
cool.
it for like drugs and other things. I'm curious if they're going to need to do some like FDA level approval for use of this
Yeah, that's
in
yeah, like to even be able to have yeah, to be able to rely on the outcomes. Yeah, okay.
the recommendations from this. Yeah. So
Cool.
we'll kind of see. But I think, again,
Yeah.
this is a stepping stone in the right direction. I feel like there's probably more and more to come. Like very similar. I mean, like mapping the genome took, I don't know, what, 10 years or something like that. I think getting to an organism or getting to much more
yeah,
complex proteins, I mean, it's not over the moon given that it's AI and it, just improves so exponentially. I think we're going to be there in like a few years.
Yeah, Google is also they just was it today or yesterday revealed a video where the Google research team is trying to use AI to decode the brain basically and how it works. And they started with like a worm which has like 302 neurons,
Mm-hmm.
and now they are going to now then they went to from a fruit fly brain, which is
Mm-hmm.
somewhere around already over 100,000 neurons
Mm-hmm.
firing. And then they now started and wanted to work, and they didn't solve that yet, on a mice, which anatomically is really similar to a human brain already. So they say maybe if we try to get the mice, which has 1,000 times more neurons than the fly, and the human then again has 1,000 times more neurons than the mice. Mice,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Mouse. Mice is plural. Um, but yeah, and they say like because it's so similar, maybe if we decode the mice brain and how it works, we don't even need to decode the human brain anymore because we just understand how it works.
Extrapolate those findings to humans.
Uh,
No, this is,
cool.
I mean, exciting. I think just curious where it's going to continue to go
Yeah.
because I think they have I think AlphaFold 2 came out, I want to say like within the last 6 months or so. So like the advancement is really, really rapid. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to continue to amaze us with
Yeah. Really cool.
more
Really, really
advancement.
cool.
Should we move on to like
Yeah.
the exciting part of Apple? And I
Yeah,
think we're about a
now
month
to the
away.
to the less serious stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, from being able to create new stuff to destroying stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I just leave the
Great
picture
segue.
open here. First of all, thanks to for 9 to 5 Mac that we reference to their articles. So yeah, if you want to read the full article, just visit their site. It's awesome for everything Apple news. So yeah, let me just quickly recap. Apple had an event on Tuesday for the new iPad lineup. They updated the iPad Air and they updated the iPad Pro, and the iPad Pro got a complete redesign. I don't want to get too much into the details, but they have like an amazing display, and at least the larger iPad is only 5.1 millimeters thick, which is the thinnest product Apple ever made, like including the iPod Nano. So it's thinner than that. And they also did new accessories. They did a new pencil with squeeze. And one thing that really, yeah, it was already leaked before, but still surprise is that Apple put the M4 in there and not the M3 as one would
In the
expect.
iPad Pro?
Yeah,
In
the
the
iPad Pro.
iPad?
There's an
Oh
M4.
wow.
This M4 is faster than my first M1 Max chip. Like,
Wow.
period. It's really really crazy. And one thing they did to achieve that, I think the first time since the M1 reworked and like redesigned a completely new CPU core. This CPU core is at least they have written it down on the terms, like it has ML accelerators, so some kind of machine learning AI accelerators in the CPU core, which was weird because you would expect such a thing either in the neural engine, which is still on board, and
Mm-hmm.
they improved the speed again, and they also have the GPU, but having an ML core, ML accelerator on the CPU cores as like on the efficiency and the performance cores, this was weird. Like I didn't get it, and I still we don't have any infos on that. So that's where our WWDC will be interesting to really see how Apple will take advantage of that, because it seems to be a next step for on-device machine learning. So the neural engines are already making stuff possible, but the whole transformer architecture stuff is it's still like the neural engine was already in the iPhone. The transformers weren't even a thing, right? So I think
Could we
Apple
do
has
like
to
a
come up.
voiceover? Like, so part of what you were kind of talking about and like building anticipation for this product, there was this ad that was released.
Oh
Maybe
yeah,
we don't play the sound, but we do a voiceover so
yeah.
that
So that one,
can you play it and then we can do a voiceover without
yeah,
sound?
that one was really really something. So yeah, we had the controversial ad, which was
Yeah.
which was this was a picture of it. Let me see how I can play it. Give me a second. Find it here. I deactivate the sound and then I switch over. There we go. So yeah, got into a lot of controversy because oh, I stopped sharing. Sorry, it got into a lot of controversy because like creators weren't getting it too well, to be
Yeah.
completely honest.
And I think I was trying to understand. I'm like, this actually looks creative, but I think the perspective that they were bringing, I think we kind of covered it in this article. You could read it, but people felt that that was like a symbolic sign of what's happening with creators. I think, and it's like they're getting crushed by AI, and
tech
it
in
was just like
general.
not.
Yeah, like it's creators getting crushed by tech. That's basically what what was received as a message. And Apple, yeah,
I don't know.
Apple even reacted and stopped the usage of the ad.
They apologize for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Also,
mean,
there's like a producer and director and writer who said like, I like iPads, but don't know why anyone thought this ad was a good idea. And to be completely honest, I've seen the ad and I was like, that's weird. Like, I don't like
oh
that.
yeah,
It was the
yeah.
same for me. Like, oh, the intent was clear, but it like just missed the mark.
The concept, I think the
Yeah,
concept is innovative. Maybe the execution wasn't the
yeah.
prettiest. They could have animated it instead. Maybe that would have been better received. But
Yeah.
related to the thinness of like thickness of like the iPad, I don't know. I'm not too keen on that. Just because everyone's kind of fetching like the thinnest. You know what it also is
I
gonna
would
do? It's
disagree because I have now an
mhm.
iPad Pro and I ditched the keyboard case because it was just too thick and too heavy.
Oh,
And the heavy part is not yet solved, but the iPad got a bit thinner, and the case itself got like 50% thinner. So I'm considering at least not directly, but like if they do proper AI updates on the software, then I will definitely check it out because I missed the keyboard, to be honest. I'd love to, like, if I go out to like grab something to eat or grab a coffee or something, I'd like to leave everything on my desk and just take my iPad. And not having the keyboard case kind of, yeah, sucks, but it, yeah.
I have the keyboard case and it's not too thick, and I have the iPad Pro. I don't know. I feel
But
like
you don't carry around 16-inch MacBook Pro, so
that's true. Yeah, I don't. But what like my biggest concern is that like the thinner it gets, like how reliable is it? Because for that screen size,
yeah.
like could you toss it somewhere and like it
Yeah,
bend?
it's
And
Apple says it's more sturdy than the last one, so I had
so
never
they
had
claim to
any
be.
bending issues whatsoever with any Apple device, so I don't know.
Wait until your
But
kids get older and they start jumping on stuff that you
yeah,
have. So
yeah, maybe.
yeah, let me know in a couple of years how that goes for you.
Uh,
Um,
but talking about the software updates, so DubDub or WWDC is on the way. It's I think a month from now.
exactly. Yeah, I think it's like
And
June 10th through
yeah,
14th. Yep.
so and that's Apple's developer conference where they show all the updates of their software like macOS and iOS and visionOS and watchOS and tvOS.
All
Like
of their Apple Suite
they
products, pretty much.
they get quite a lot nowadays. Yeah, and then there is a lot of speculation that Siri gets a Gen AI boost. Um,
Hmm.
and I think they're still in talks with OpenAI to use their models, which I found interesting because I thought there is more of an on-device thing going on.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Maybe it's even connected. But yeah, Siri. Let's face it, Siri is completely useless at the moment.
I would
So
love for I would love to see maybe Apple leveraging some components of and some established model. I don't know that it really matters whether it's GPT.
Yeah,
All of them are really awesome at this point.
yeah.
But the action models of R1 Rabbit, could they please like give them that to enhance the OS? Because that's ultimately what would be truly game changing. Is if like in addition to Siri being smarter, but her actually doing something across your OS to like do some actions, that would be game changing.
Yeah. Yeah, and they even say like Craig Federighi, like one of the top vice presidents of Apple, and John Giannandrea, I don't know how to pronounce it. Tested ChatGPT extensively, decided the company had to act and overhaul how Siri works to compete. And that's kind of interesting because nowadays I use a lot of the ChatGPT app on my phone, and it gets more
Oh, I do too.
increasingly. Yeah, and that's, and now even like yesterday, my wife was searching for naming ideas for her new venture, and I was like, here's my phone. There's ChatGPT 4, go for it.
Yeah.
And yeah, and she managed to get something out of it, like just during our way home from playing ground to to where we live. And yeah, that's kind of where we stand at the moment. And Apple recognized that. Apple bought a bunch of AI companies the last years, and now we seem to finally get some juice out of it. And also, just as a note, there is an open source framework from Apple for developers to get models of any type running on Apple Silicon.
Oh.
And this community is well and alive and well. It's growing, and basically every model that releases that's open source like instantly gets an MLX version of it. So yeah, I think we are up for a treat. The M4 is a really important puzzle piece in there, I guess, because yeah, if you get additional machine learning acceleration to have on-device vision, at least, that's what Apple also released some papers to. That might be really worth.
I'm a bit disappointed or upset that M4 is coming out. I think you said maybe later this year that as an early adopter, a proud early adopter of these M chips, that I just recently upgraded my computer to M3. That like a few months later now they announced that.
Yeah, M3 came out in November, so but it's not a given that the Macs will be updated until like the end of the year.
Probably, yeah.
It's I'm not sure, but they might as well do it. You're still, like everyone out there, you're still fine with an M3. You're still fine with an M2, and you even still
Phew.
fine with an M1.
Thank you for those words of encouragement. But yeah, no, that was totally a joke because Edgar thinks that I'm like the anti early adopter because
You
I
are.
take years to adopt. So
The first thing came out in 2020. It's 2024. So yeah,
what
that's
else?
that.
I'm here today with the M3. So
And it's even
today's what
M3,
counts.
even M3 Pro, like your real Pro. That's why you needed that.
That's what I have. So that's why I'm a 4-year late early adopter. That's what I am.
For
So
yeah, go on.
yeah. So do you want to talk about the GitHub Copilot workspace and what's happening there?
Yeah. So GitHub Copilot Workspace. GitHub introduced something which also was had some controversy around it. This is kind of a Copilot extension, which not only it works in your programming environment, but is a developer environment basically, where you define a task and it creates actual code for you and tests it and does documentation and stuff like that. Thing is, people are a bit burned by the Devon stuff, which
Oh, they don't
didn't
have their
get.
hopes up.
That's developers. They are critical anyway with such tools, and even if they really want them to have the tools, but they're not working properly as of right now. And they did a sneak preview, which was more like just a marketing video without any substance, really. And they showed these and they showed these screenshots, and all the
Hmm.
screenshots, if you like, I won't go into detail right now, but if you go into the detail and see what they actually show here, it's kind of messed up, and it did changes it hadn't shouldn't have done. Yeah, that's that. So and people were thinking like, okay, was that just rushed out, or is that the best it gets?
My perspective is that you're. Remember how you were basically mentioning that I was not the customer for R1; it was the developers. Now, you guys, developers, are not the customer for this. Like it's the business people who don't know
Yeah.
how to read this, who
Yeah,
have
but
these shiny screenshots, and it's like
uh,
amazing. Our
yeah,
developers are going to be so happy until you
they
guys see it.
and they also they just started cutting stuff out, which would have been actually interesting. Yeah, the whole like I have some YouTubers I follow, and they went through the whole article and also the details, and they were like, "What's happening here? Like, this is not good."
Yeah,
And why do you show this like in this state? And yeah, that's it's weird. I signed up, and when I get some infos, I'll let you know. But yeah, for the time being, another AI tool in the works by a big company at least. So yeah, that's
yeah.
that.
Similar. So in the developer kind of on the developer topic, Overflow just recently partnered
Stack
with
Overflow. Yeah.
OpenAI, and I don't know. Tell us how why it's so big. I have some of my own thoughts, but yeah.
So Stack Overflow, like if you learned programming somewhere in the last 15 years, you mostly learned it on Stack Overflow. Why is that? Like people on Stack Overflow ask questions usually, and other people help them with their questions, and then stuff gets upvoted and gets a check mark if it's the solution to the problem. And usually that was like you program something, you don't know how this works or why stuff doesn't work, you type it into Google, and first thing you get is Stack Overflow. Like basically that was like the workflow for every developer out there. And now ChatGPT came out, and people starting using GitHub Copilot, like the in editor
Hmm.
experience, and less started to go on Stack Overflow, and a website needs traffic.
Yeah.
So and Stack Overflow kind of, and that was also the perception as far as I know. uh, like I even see videos like Stack Overflow RIP, you're done, that they are partnering with OpenAI. And there is a lot of already controversy around OpenAI just using Stack Overflow and training the models. And also Stack people are like, okay, I post my code here, like it's not
Hmm.
meant to be used for training. And yeah, there's a lot of controversy surrounding that. But yeah, OpenAI will get access to Stack Overflow in terms of partnership. I'm pretty sure that's mostly a financial point of view because, like I said, a website needs traffic. If you don't get traffic, if you can't beat it, swim with it. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
So it's maybe like an alternative revenue source for Stack Overflow, but OpenAI needs it to
yeah,
improve its coding, the code interpreter. I'm assuming.
yeah,
Um, yeah. So it's I guess a win-win for both sides. But yeah, I think more and more of these websites who again like we talk about this like putting your
yeah,
data to use. Stack Overflow is a database of knowledge, and then
yeah.
they're putting it to use through this partnership. Or
And don't get me wrong, like uh, most developers are pretty fine with not having to jump to Stack Overflow all the time and
Mhm.
having it just in your code editor. It's huge time saver. But nonetheless, it has kind of a weird aftertaste.
Yeah. Do you think people will be as engaged on Stack Overflow knowing that there's this open AI that's like scrubbing data from the website?
We will see. I'm not sure if the engagement was as high anyway. And other
Okay.
on the other side, there is still enough community behind that there is no better place to ask your dev related questions. So
Gotcha. So we'll see something.
Depends a bit on how far you get with Copilot nowadays. I'm not sure because I'm a senior developer. Like I'm not the benchmark. But if you have young developers, you have even mid developers, how much can they really work with AI without producing shitty code all the time? I'm not sure.
How would they know
Yeah.
better without the experience? And now you're streamlining a lot of it with AI. So something to watch. I mean, nonetheless, I'm
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. I think it's some developer in one stream they looked at Sora, and they were like, how can it do this, and why can't it do like simple coding tasks like
mhm.
completely good? And then the other developer was saying like, yeah, of course, like the video, if there is some imperfection in 2 or 3 pixels, you don't care. If there is imperfections in your code, you do. So
Yeah,
that's like you think it's like the first thing that will be solved, and it might be, but we're still some way off.
yeah. No, I think the impact of the code is definitely bigger than the visual aspects of it. Like
Yeah.
um, but yeah, no, I think that's it for this week.
Yeah.
Hopefully you guys have found this to be helpful, useful, and appreciate our perspective. We love to do this. So if there's topics or maybe industries that we need to be covering more, like I really geek out on this AlphaFold type of stuff. So if there's something that you guys want us specifically to dive in deeper, please leave it in the comments. Subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe. We're almost there and to close to getting to 100 subscribers. We'd love for you to help us get there.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Really much would love it.
yes, very much. Thumbs
Yeah.
up if you like this episode. Yeah, and I guess anything from you, Edgar, before
No,
we
thank you
part?
very much. You see the last podcast episode down here. Subscribe to our channel on the other side, and yeah, really hope you enjoyed the episode. Really wish you a good start into the week, and see you next week. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.